KVEW 42 studios. Local news at 5 starts now.
As far as the plants that are already picked, doesn't hurt a thing. So they're already to sleep, they're happy.
Has the unseasonable chill throughout the Mid-Columbia affected area wineries? That is the question we...
are not affected by this.
Business remains strong.
Kevin, that's right. You would think that most of the wineries were unprepared for the shot of early cold weather, but actually this is one of the busiest times of the harvesting season. Now, most wineries we visited have already harvested most of the grapes, and now they're sitting in barrels waiting to age. Winery owners say the cold weather has created a little bit of a shock, but there is no need for concern. Keith Pilgrim of Terra Blanca Wineries in Benton City says just last week the leaves of the vines were green. We went there today and most of the leaves are brown. He says the cold weather was pretty much expected.
Like I said, when you go from a warm temperature, say that 60, 65 degree days we had, down to those 18, 19 degree nights, the grape plants are not overly thrilled about that. But if we can do some things to sort of soften that blow for the first night or two, generally there's no impact.
And Pilgrim says most of the wineries are waiting to see if the temperature drops. If it does, say below 8 degrees, they say some late harvest wines may be affected, but ice wines will increase. And some of the wineries throughout the Mid-Columbia have closed, but most will remain open throughout the rest of the year. Kevin, Shannon?
Okay, thank you, Brian. And January is the time when most wineries begin the bottling of the grapes they harvested during the summer.
So we were asking the question based on the forecast, the rain go away, come back another week because we've got several more days left.
Cats and dogs out there today. Corey Christiansen is in the Weather Center with the first forecast. Corey?
That's right. Today we are just starting what will be at least a week's worth of rain. A series of storms moving through off the Pacific will keep us wet all the way through the weekend. Take a look at the highs today. We only managed to make it up into the upper 30s. That's a chilly day. 39 for the Tri-Cities and 35 for Walla Walla. Although for tonight, the temperatures really aren't going to change a whole lot. Down to 37 for the Tri-Cities and 35 for Hermiston. We do have some warmer air that's moving in. That will keep those nighttime temperatures a little higher than they've been the past few days. Also for tomorrow, temperatures should be back into the 50s. That's the good part. The bad part, we expect to see plenty of rain all the way through the rest of this week and into next week. Bad at least if you don't like the rain, but of course we need it for all the crops and to keep those water supplies up. So kind of half and half. Look at that glass half full for right now. Kevin and Shannon, send it back to you.
My glass is half full of rainwater, my friend. Well, there's a good chance any canned food you donate this holiday season will go to a child. Second Harvest Tri-City says almost half of all food bought at food banks goes to kids. Food banks are already pushing for donations in a Battle of the Banks competition to collect the most food. The banks hope to get more than last year's donations, which was 18,000 pounds.
This is huge. Anytime a child's compromised and goes to bed hungry, that's wrong in my mind. Out of 24,000 people that visit a food bank in Benton and Franklin County each month, 47% of those are kids.
All donations stay right here in the Mid-Columbia. President Bush today began a campaign marathon leading up to next Tuesday's midterm elections.
He's fighting for Republican candidates and against poll numbers that show a national preference for Democrats. ABC's Andrea Canning begins our election coverage tonight.
But on November the 7th, we will win the Senate and we'll win the House.
President Bush remained pumped up on the campaign trail in Montana while stumping for struggling Senator Conrad Burns, despite a string of polls that indicate control of Congress is up for grabs in Tuesday's midterm elections.
Now, there's a lot of big issues facing the voters around the country. The two biggest issues are these. Which party is going to keep your taxes low and keep this economy growing? And which party is going to take the necessary steps to protect you in this war on terror?
The president is crisscrossing the country, campaigning in traditionally strong Republican states. Democrats are refocusing after the brief national flap over Senator John Kerry's controversial comments about the troops, capitalizing on polls that show a majority of Americans unhappy with the Iraq war. Democratic candidates are keeping the conflict front and center. At a rally in Virginia, Senator Barack Obama campaigned for Senate candidate Jim Webb. Polls show Webb has pulled ahead of Republican Senator George Allen. With 5 days to go until the elections, President Bush will remain on the campaign trail and won't return to the White House until November 7th. Mr. Bush will cast his vote in Texas and then return to Washington to watch the results. Andrea Canning, ABC News, Washington.
A new poll by the University of Washington shows Senator Maria Cantwell leading Republicans